Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where people ask questions, get advice, and we get satisfaction. If you are new around here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our awesome community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, California, a stranger had my car towed without my knowledge/permission, not towed by the city. In Los Angeles, California. Last month I came out of a Christmas party to find that my car, which had been parked on the street, was gone. I assumed it had been stolen or that it had possibly been towed, although I believe it had been properly parked. I went to the police station immediately and reported it as stolen. The police said it was not showing up in the tow system, so it probably was stolen. I kept checking the city tow system for the next few days, it did not turn up. A few days later I left town for the holidays, and 8 days after the car was gone, while I was away, I got a call from the cops saying it had been recovered and was available to pick up at a tow lot. I had hoped it would be recovered, so I left a notarized letter with a friend authorizing her to pick up my car. I called her and she was able to get the car the next day. When she picked up the car, however, she discovered that it had been sitting in a tow lot since the night it had disappeared and had in fact been towed from where I had parked it, never stolen at all. It did not show up in the tow system because it was towed privately, not by the city, and the police were only contacted after the car had been sitting there for so long that the tow company put a lien on it. My friend then had to pay $950 to get the car released for towing and storage fees. I reimbursed her, of course. After a number of calls to the tow lot and the roadside assistance company that authorized the tow, Agero, I discovered that my car had been towed by Goodyear Tow 365, which is operated by Agero. Apparently this company allows you to get your car towed and be charged later, so the person who called it in did not have to pay or sign anything to get it towed. A representative I spoke with at Agero was able to listen to the recording of the original tow request call and relay the following information to me. I have not listened to the call myself. A woman that I have never met or heard of, Jane Doe, called Goodyear to have my car towed. She indicated that she lives in the neighborhood where my car was parked. She gave them my license plate number and the correct make, but an incorrect color. It was dark, model and year of the car. The reason she stated to have the car towed was that she did not have the keys. She also indicated that she would not be present at the vehicle when the tow truck arrived. The representative admitted to me that the call made it clear that the car did not belong to Jane Doe, but was unable to explain how or why the tow was approved anyway. She suggested that what Jane Doe did was likely illegal, but when I countered that surely a private company towing a car without a valid reason or the owner's permission must also be illegal, she evaded the question and just said that as far as the tow truck drivers are concerned, a job is a job. I asked to speak to someone higher up and was told no one was available at present and that they would call me back tomorrow. I also have Jane Doe's number from the tow lot paperwork, though I have no idea if the name or number are real, as I haven't made any attempt yet to contact her directly. I can only speculate as to Jane Doe's motives. My best guesses are either that this is some kind of scam with the tow lot or that she did not like where I was parked. Although I am fairly confident I was properly parked, I suppose it is possible that I was blocking her driveway or something. I am 100% sure that I was parked on the street and not on private property. Either way, as far as I am concerned, there are two parties at fault here, Jane Doe and Agero. Jane Doe because even if I had been blocking her driveway, which I really don't think I was, she should have called the city and not a private towing company. Agero or maybe Goodyear 365 Tow because they authorized the towing of my car despite there being no valid reason to tow and no owner present. In addition to the $950 I had to pay to get the car released, I also had to pay $80 to rent a car for the 3 days between when it was towed and when I left for the holidays, and also about $50 for Uber rides getting home from the police station and getting to and from the car rental place. I am hoping to recover this money from someone. I am still waiting to hear back from an Agero supervisor, but I can sense from the people that I have spoken to so far that they are doing their best to avoid liability for this. Assuming they don't agree to reimburse my costs, does anyone have suggestions as to what to pursue next? Agero's corporate headquarters are in Massachusetts, and would it be possible to take them to small claims court here in Los Angeles? As for Jane Doe, I am not really interested in legal retribution, but if I wanted to take her to small claims, would it make sense to file a police report about her actions? The only information I have about her is name and phone number, and I have no reason to believe that the information is valid, given that no one involved in the towing did any work to confirm any of it. I am waiting to attempt to contact her in case there ends up being any legal action. Any advice is appreciated. Thanks everyone, it seems that filing a police report or amending my previous one is the prudent first step. After that, the hassle of small claims. Edit number 2. Just got off the phone with the desk officer at the police station I filed the original report at, and he basically told me it sounded like a civil matter and not to bother him with it. But he also said I could try calling tomorrow during the day when the auto detectives are in, so I will try that. Edit number 3, spoke with an auto detective. It was hard to piece everything together over the phone, so he told me to go into the station on Monday when his boss was there, with the hope that something can be sorted out. Anyway, a user in the comments said, in this situation I would try to file a police report and give all the details you just did. Not sure on small claims court against a company, but you can definitely sue them in California as they operate there. And another person said, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think they would find partial fault with both the tow company and the woman who called. Therefore, somewhere down the line, if he does sue, he can list both parties. And you know guys, interestingly enough, something very similar happened to my sister when she moved to a different city. One day she came home from work, and I think her work car is a BMW X1 or something like that, I'm not really good with cars. And she got some sort of notification that her car got moved or something like that. Then she went outside and she saw that her car was not there where she parked it anymore. And apparently this was some kind of scam with a fraudulent tow company that randomly tows expensive cars in order to get money from you. But still, that is a better outcome than what she first expected, because she thought someone had just stolen it. Has your car ever got towed for no reason? Let us know in the comments. And the next one is an update to the stranger towed my car without my knowledge story. Well, today I did get a call back from a supervisor at Agero, the roadside company that operates the dispatch for the towing. She was much more helpful than I expected her to be and was patient with me as I expressed my frustration that a car could be towed based solely on a random phone call, although she wouldn't admit that anything that Agero or the local tow company did was legally negligent. She agreed without hesitation to reimburse me for the towing fees, and when I mentioned the car rental costs and Uber rides, she agreed to reimburse that as well. So I have sent off photos of the receipts, she had them approved, and that is that, once I get the check anyway. I even received an official apology letter, which was unexpected. The impression I got by reading between the lines of what the Agero supervisor and the other reps said was that the call never really should have been approved in the first place, since it was blatantly obvious that the caller did not own the vehicle. I think this is the reason that they were so willing to reimburse me without a fight, because it was a clear F-up on their part. They didn't admit this outright, but their words strongly implied it. As for Jane Doe, I am more and more convinced that she is fictitious, although the Agero supervisor said she could not release the recording of the call to me without a subpoena. She did say that they tried to contact Jane Doe several times. The person who answered the number she gave me was a man who claimed to have no idea about the situation. My numerous searches have returned nothing. My best guess is that this whole thing was a tow scam perpetrated by the local tow company, although I imagine at this point Agero will be taking back the money I paid them. Maybe they are banking on someone just rolling over and taking this. Another scenario would just be that Jane Doe did not like where my car was parked for whatever reason, knew she could get it moved this way, and used a fake name. I was planning on going to the police station on Monday to file another police report or amend the previous, but at this point I don't really care anymore. I would have to get up really early and probably be late for work, so it is not worth the time and hassle for me, especially because I have absolutely zero confidence that the police would find Jane Doe anyway. Ultimately, I'm just glad to have my car back and not be out $1,000. Sorry, I could not deliver a rousing tale of petty miscreants being crushed beneath the wheels of justice, but alas, such is life. And by the way guys, such is legal advice sometimes. Jane Doe lives to wreak havoc another day, sulking about in dark corners, ready to prey on another unsuspecting Angelinos. I really appreciate everyone who took time out of their day to give me advice about this, and I hope there are kind strangers out there for you when you find yourself in a jam. And guys, if you have watched until here and enjoy my content, please don't forget to like the video as it helps my channel tremendously. Thank you so much in advance, and now let's move on to the next legal advice story. And the next one is titled, Landlord wants my roommate and I to leave every time there's a showing of the apartment we rent. Indiana, my roommate works from home and has had to use vacation time to leave because our landlord texted us and told us that it says in the lease that we have to leave every time there is a showing. It is in the lease, but is this legal? We gave the landlord our schedule so we could try to be accommodating and they could schedule a showing when we are able to leave, but they keep scheduling during the set work hours. And a user in the comments said, it would require a bit of research into Indiana law, but I'm not certain that a lease provision for this is enforceable. It is your home and you have the right to be there. You also have some non-zero duty to cooperate with showings to prospective tenants or buyers. Here is a document from Indiana state government implying this. It says you have the right to access your property at all times and it gives a limited list of exceptions. That implies, but again may not be definitive, that the landlord cannot boot you out for showings. The problem is that this document does not cite a source within the state code. You would think government agencies would go that extra step. And the next one is an update to the landlord who wants you to leave your apartment when there's a showing story. So it's been a while since a lot of this went down, but I keep experiencing issues and there's not much that can be done besides leaving, of course. But from where I left off, after consulting with a lawyer, the lawyer sent a strongly worded email to my landlord about how it is illegal to make us leave when she schedules showings and that we will try our best to leave, but it will be completely voluntary. The landlord sent back an email saying that they are very imperative about tenants leaving and that is why it is in the lease. Sent photos of my apartment that she took while at a showing, saying that it is a mess and we need to clean up. Before I moved in, it was a frat house, had cigarette butts and liquor bottles and trash all over, but I still cleaned up some clutter anyways. My landlord frequently had showings, sometimes 3 in one day, asking us to leave for a couple hours at a time. She even showed up 40 minutes to 1 and I was changing in my living room when they had walked in. She showed up 10 minutes early the second time. I was in the bathroom with the door wide open and walked out to strangers in my hallway. I had even planned to leave for some of these showings, but didn't even get the chance because of how early she showed up. It was honestly such creepy behavior. She would not knock because she claimed we should be gone anyways and then blamed us for the reason why no one wanted to sign a lease for the place. I think maybe it is because the people coming to the showings were seeing how she invaded our privacy, to be honest. I consistently felt very uncomfortable in my own home. I documented every interaction with her and had lawyers send another email about how it is against her own rules, longer story, to show up early. She is breaking the law, etc. She sent another email sounding angry, blaming my roommate and I on her not being able to sign the lease, blames us for a weed smoke smell, not us but our upstairs neighbors, but she then backed off a little. Had more showings, she showed up on time, but she still did not announce herself or knock. Fine, whatever, at least I could prepare. Then finally people signed the lease and we didn't have to deal with it anymore, but recently I walked out to my living room while being home alone to the maintenance man. Didn't even know he was there and he had been there for hours. That was creepy. I cannot wait for this to be over. And the last one is titled, California, I was fired today due to an investigation that was based on false allegations. For the record, I am a female. Today I was fired. To make this short, I work in a facility that helps autistic adults as well as other mental illnesses such as bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and a few others. On each evening shift there are 4 employees in the building at all times that do the same job as each other. We work with these adults directly. Besides these 4 there are 2 security guards and a doctor on staff. During the day there's 1 supervisor and a GM, but they are not on evening shift. During my shift last week, a male employee had helped me take care of an injury that occurred during our shift. I was cleaning a room and accidentally slammed my finger in a drawer. I went to the sink in our break room to run it under cold water and wash off blood from my nail. The male employee opened the door, popped his head in and asked if I was okay. I said I was fine. He left and continued working. Let me be clear that he never even fully came into the break room, just his head. I also continued my shift, and when I went to clock out, a security guard came over with a cell phone and told me the supervisor needed to speak with me. I answered and she told me to meet her in her office the next morning, yelling at me that I should have called her immediately. I didn't get what was going on, but did as she asked. The next day, she told me that I must leave because there is an investigation going on, that I was assaulted. I had no idea what she was talking about. She told me one of the 4 employees, a female, reported that the male employee had assaulted me in the break room. I told her no, he didn't. To view the tapes, she said there is no security footage in the break room. I told her that the male employee did not even come in all the way. She would see that on the tape. She ignored me. She said she will interview everyone, and when the investigation is complete, she will call me. I talked to the last employee, another male, who said he was interviewed and he told the truth, that he saw nothing and did not believe I was assaulted. Long story short, I was fired today. Does an investigation have any bearing on unemployment? I don't want an assaulted on the male employee's record. Nothing happened. The police were never called by anyone that I know. I have no idea what investigation she is talking about. Should he and I report this? Is there anything to report? And a user in the comments said, CA has strict workers' compensation laws that favor the employee, therefore most California employers have strict policies that require employees who are injured on the job to report their injuries immediately using a documented procedure. It is extremely likely that your former employee has such a policy. At my CA workplace, if there's any delay between the occurrence of the injury and the report of said injury, an investigation is automatically triggered. Even if the injury claim is found to be accurate, the supervisor of the injured employee is required to counsel the employee on the policy violation and document the counseling. We don't fire on the first violation, but other employers might. You need to check your employer's policy on workplace injuries. If you were required to report immediately and did not, you violated policy and your employer could claim you were fined for the cause. So you need to figure out now if you violated policy so you can prepare your case for unemployment. As for the assault business, my guess would be that a coworker of yours reported your injury but somehow misconstrued the cause, and because you did not report it yourself, your employer had to investigate based on the report they had. Moral of the story is, when you are injured on the job, you follow your employer's procedures for reporting a workplace injury and do so immediately as soon as reasonably possible after realizing you've been injured. And by the way guys, I'm curious, have you ever gotten injured at your workplace? And if so, did you report it to your employer? Let us know in the comments. Update to the I was fired due to an investigation based on false allegations story. Yesterday I got a call from my ex-supervisors who fired me supervisor. Didn't know he existed. He asked if I could come into the office and I said yes. I went and the other employee was already there. He sat down with the both of us, told us he felt that things were handled inappropriately and asked for our sides of the story. The male employee went first and then me. Afterwards he brought both of us together and said our stories were spot on. We both said the exact same thing. He believed we were telling the truth because he also viewed the security tapes and offered us part-time positions for the time being because both of our spots were filled. Male coworker accepted and I declined. I know I cannot get unemployment, but I already have 2 job interviews lined up for similar positions, full-time with benefits. I need the benefits. I don't want to work in a place with such bad HR department or management. I believe that going from full-time with benefits to part-time, even temporarily, is bad when I didn't do anything. Oh, and for the supervisor that fired us, she was moved to another facility with less duties, but I didn't hear that from her supervisor, just a coworker. I don't need further advice here, but wanted to at least give an update. And guys, unfortunately, we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.